We've got to do it because there are children now on the street, there are children begging, there are children in child labour, there are children turning to violence. And unless we do something about this, we've got a huge social problem of dislocation in Lebanon and of course in other areas, Jordan and Turkey, where refugees are based, as well as within Syria itself. Why should we concentrate on education? Yes, it is important to provide shelter. We must provide healthcare. We've got a polio epidemic that we've got to watch for. Yes, we've got to provide the other means by which people can survive. But if you don't give children education, they lose hope. They can't plan for the future. They can't think of jobs that they may do when the conflict is over. We end up with a generation that has lost hope about the future.
The education system in Lebanon is already incredibly stretched. So how much money are you going to need and where is it going to come from?
We need about $200 million a year, $195 million in the first year. That is very cost effective for 400,000 children to be at school, partly because you're not having to build new schools, you're using existing schools. We want the international community, the different aid agencies to support it. We've got an indication of support from many of the Western agencies. Some of the Arab countries are also considering support. And we believe this could be up and running within weeks. I mean, 400,000 children getting back into school within weeks. But we have to get the funding of this, and that's why we've issued this appeal.
It's definitely a good cause, but it is going to be difficult to raise that money for education.
It is difficult to raise the money because it's always been a second thought, an afterthought almost, in a humanitarian disaster. But if you know that this conflict has continued for many months, if you know that the traditional conflict lasts for nearly 10 years and it will be years perhaps before these children are back in their own country, then you've got to do something about this. You know, 100 years ago we established the principle through the Red Cross that healthcare would be provided even in the worst possible situations in conflict. Now it's time to establish the principle that even when the situation is dire and hopeless, and even when there is a conflict and a broken down regime, that these children's right to education should continue wherever possible. And we have found a way of doing it, and therefore it's important that we fund it.